am just doing this quick introduction to tomorrow's video. Hopefully tomorrow I will make some applesauce. I have 20 pounds of apples that I got from AzureStandard.com. Can't seem to get it on there. Bear with me. But anyhow, so I bought 20 pounds of apples from Azure Standard, and so tomorrow I'm hoping to make the applesauce, and if I feel like it, I will also make some apple jelly using the apple skins. So if you are interested in watching that and seeing how it's done, it's very simple, very, very simple. So if you're interested in it, stay tuned, and hopefully I will have that video for you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Okay, so we are getting ready to make our applesauce. So we have gone through most of the apples in this box from Azure, and my oldest is separating the good apples from the bad apples. Now these are organic apples, so they will have, bug holes and stuff because they've not been sprayed with chemicals, but that's okay. We'd rather have that and do a little extra work than, have bad stuff in our bodies. Okay, so she has the good ones and the bad ones, and then she has been over here washing, rinsing off the ones that are still good. And then the ones that are too small to go on the apple core and peeler, I will do by hand. And the ones that are bad, I will go ahead and I will do those by hand as well and cut out the bad parts, and we will use those. So, my youngest is over here manning the Applemate 3. So, do you want to give us a sample? Show us how it works?
Sure.
She already put the apple on the prong. Just turning the handle. And it is peeling the apple. Since these are, keep going. Since these are organic apples, they're not as big as some that are, commercial apples. And I waited a couple extra days longer than I should have, so they are softer, but it'll still work. Keep going. Okay, so it's peeled, and of course I'll have to go through here and pull these off. So it has sliced it, peeled it, and cored it. Alright, so I will go through here and just kind of freshen it up some, and we will take the peelings and cores and put in this apple bucket, and tomorrow we will turn that into apple jelly. Well, I'll actually boil it down today, but then tomorrow we'll make the apple jelly using that. We'll show you how to do that later. Alright, so she's doing her next one, and my oldest is still over here. No, put it on that cookie sheet so it doesn't get on the butcher block. So my oldest is over here still going through the good and the bad apples. And then once we get all of those done, we have a pot here that has 1 inch of water in it, and we've already done 1 apple. So once all the apples are done, they're going to go in here, and then in just 1 inch of water, and we will boil this down, soften it up, and this will be our applesauce. And I have some lids here in a little bit of water just to heat up. And I like to turn my lids opposite because if you do them like this together, they tend to stick together. So I flip them in opposite directions. And then we have our water bath canner. And I'm going to use this to sterilize the jars. This canner holds 8 pint jars. So I'm going to use this to sterilize them, and then, of course, seal the jars once they're done. So that is it for now. We will show you how it's going when we're done. Okay, so we are still diligently working on our apples, and it's been about 15-20 minutes. And these are the good ones we still have to do that are washed and ready to go. In the box, we have the ones that have little bad spots on them that we gotta manually cut out and peel. Here, this is the apple peelings and cores that we'll be using for the apple jelly. And my oldest, since she is done washing the apples, she's now helping me to peel them and put them in the pot. And my youngest is also helping, trying to, here, try this one. She's usually uses a chopping knife, so is this your first time using a peeling knife? Okay, so this is her first time using that's a granny knife I have from Rada. So this is her first time using a knife like that. So I'll give you a lesson in just a minute when I put the phone down. Anyhow, but she was doing this and it was working, but then it just got to where the apples, with them being organic and just, you know, misshapen and things like that, that this wasn't working too well. So we're just doing them all by hand now. Anyway, so, oh, yes, and my oldest, what do you want to say it?
If you cut an apple crosswise like this, then there's a star inside.
Yep. So if you didn't hear her, she said if you cut an apple across the center like that, instead of normal, from north to south, then there's a star. So it's pretty neat. Okay, so it has been about an hour and we are done peeling the apples. We have them, you can hear it already starting to boil. So this pot is full of the apples, and then I have my canner turned on, so I am heating up the jars, and I'm going, once they start boiling, I will, let it boil and sterilize them for about 10 minutes. And, but of course, I've got to make this up first. They got to soften, and then I got to smash them up and all that. Now, apples are mainly made of water, like 99% water. So there will be liquid, and I will strain that off because we don't like watery applesauce. If you like it pretty runny, just leave the water in there. If you like it thicker, just strain it off, but don't throw it away. Just filter it and then sweeten it if you want to, but you shouldn't have to, and that would be your apple juice. Okay? And then I have my lids in here, but they are not turned on yet because they only need to kind of get warm for about 5 minutes. Okay, so that's that. And then here we have our apple peelings that when the applesauce process is done, I will take these and I will boil these down into a liquid and strain all this off, and then I'll use the liquid to make apple jelly, but I will do that tomorrow. If you don't want to make apple jelly, you can use these to make apple cider vinegar. And then we also had some apples left that the pot would not hold. So my oldest wants to use these and make some apple pies. She just made an apple pie last week, but she would like to use these for apple pie. Or we might just dry them in the oven and have like some apple chips. Okay, let's see. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you. Let me get it here. Alright. What I use to get the lids out are just these tongs. That's what I use. But anyhow, I wanted to mention, you see how it's already written on? Now, I know that people, it said not to use the same lids. You should get brand new ones each time. I don't, unless they are damaged or rusty or something like that, then I do. But let me see if I can find one. Okay, here's one. See how this one has 2 marks on it? Right there? That means I have used this lid twice. Every time I use a lid, I will put a mark on it, but once there's 3 marks, I throw it away. Even if it still looks good, I throw it away after 3 times, just to be on the safe side. But I've done this ever since I started canning, and I have been canning for, I don't even know, 10 years or so. And I've been doing this ever since, and I've never, ever had a lid fail. But what I do is I always check the lids. I always check them and make sure that they are not rusty. I make sure that the seal, this rubber glue, is lined up with the metal. I just make sure that they are still in very good condition, and I have never had a problem with them failing. So, but they don't recommend that, but that's what I do. So, in case you saw that date on there, I just wanted to tell you why. Okay. Alright, so these apples, I will let them boil, and they are boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it down some and just kind of let them cook. And then in about 20 minutes, I'm going to come back, I'm going to stir them up, check them, and once they are soft, kind of like, I guess, like mashed potatoes, once they are soft, then I will go ahead and crush them all up. I will either use a potato masher, or you can use a mixer, a blender, anything like that, just to smash them up to the consistency that you want. Some people want their applesauce really smooth and creamy. Some people like it chunky. Some people kind of like it, in the middle. So it's just a personal preference. And I should not have to add any sugar to this. So far, I haven't. Once I've smashed them up, I will taste it and see. But I've never had to add sugar to them. It really depends on the kind of apples you get. If you have Granny Smith apples that are more sour, you would definitely want to add the sugar. I might add cinnamon to this once they're all mashed up. I'll see what they taste like, and we might decide to add cinnamon. But right now, we're just going to wait and see. And but these apples that I got from Azure, I believe they are either Jonathan or Red Delicious, or they might be a combination. Let me come over here. Right here. It says the apples are in season juice grade. So it might just be a combination of different types of apples of, whatever was in season at that time. And anyhow, so I guess that's it for now. And once these are ready to be smashed, I will come back. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells so good. Oh, it smells delicious. It's very exciting having that smell in the house when it is cold, when it is a cold fall day outside. It's just been, last few days have been cold, and fall is here. So this smells really good with the cold fall outside. I bet adding cinnamon in it later on will be even much better smell. But I wanted to make a comment that, okay, these are not ready by any means, but I just wanted to kind of tell you how it feels pushing down in there. Whoops, dropped one out. Anyhow, it kind of feels foamy. I'm dropping them out. Anyway, just wanted to tell you that it feels kind of foamy. It's hot. Anyhow, but it smells really good. And it's not too terribly far from being done. Maybe 20 minutes or so. And I can hear the water heating up in here, although it's not boiling yet. It does not sound like it is, so it's not yet. it takes a while for that. Okay, so I took a video a while ago before I separated part of it, and then I lost the video, so I'm sorry. Okay, so these have boiled some more, and I poured off some of the juice, and then I took my masher here, and I've just been smashing them like this. And so I done that on all of them, these included, and there was still too much. Hang on, turning this down. Go ahead and turn it off. And there was still too much juice in there to my liking, so I poured this in here, and I've just been, well, with two hands, I've just been kind of pushing this through a little bit, getting out all that excess juice. And you can see the apple juice I have so far, and there's more of it in the pot, but I am going to keep some of that though. Alright, so I'm just stirring through here, trying to decide if I want to pour off any more. I think I'm going to leave the juice that's in here. I'm going to pour this back in here. Okay, that makes it a lot more thick. Okay, now I think I'm going to get the hand mixer and mix this up a little bit more, puree it a little bit, not too much. We like it kind of thick. I'm going to get the hand mixer, I'm going to do that, and if it doesn't do too good of a job, then I will just put it in the Ninja and blend it that way. I did want to make a comment though. My grandma, hers was kind of thick and chunky. It may have been a little bit smoother than this, but hers was kind of thick and chunky. And she would just put it like this into those freezer containers, those plastic freezer containers, and stick it in the freezer. And her applesauce was always just so delicious. She didn't have to add anything to it, no sugar, no cinnamon, nothing. It was just perfect every time. In fact, this may sound a little weird. Or you may disapprove of it, but there was nothing wrong with it. My grandma, she canned applesauce. Well, she canned everything. But just last month, we opened the last frozen container of applesauce that she made. And it was 10 years old. And it had been in the freezer for 10 years in our deep freeze. And we had a lot of stuff in our deep freeze that she had canned. So, and it was so special because she's been dead for 7 years. So we've just really, taken our time eating it, letting it, spreading it out as long as we possibly could. So last month we opened it wasn't last month. It was right before we moved, so I guess it was in June. We opened up our very last container of applesauce that she made, and it was 10 years old. And I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, 10 years old? And you ate it? Yes, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. The only thing that made it look bad on top was because it had been in the freezer for so long, there was about this thick of like ice on top. So when I got it out of the deep freeze, I just set it in the refrigerator and let it thaw for a couple days. And then, actually, I set it on the counter and let it kind of defrost, I guess, just for a little bit, like maybe an hour on the counter, and then just enough to where I could pull up that, inch or two of thick ice and just throw that away, and then I'd sit it in the fridge and let it thaw out completely for a couple days, then stir it up. And yeah, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's delicious. But anyhow, so I just wanted to say that. And no, it did not taste freezer burnt or anything. It tasted fresh. And so, anyhow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the mixer and possibly the Ninja. Okay, so the applesauce is done. I strained off some more of the juice, and then I took the hand mixer and mixed it to the consistency that we like. It'd be okay if it was thinner for us, but this is perfectly fine. I had the kids come up here and taste test it, and they both said that it's delicious. I think it's pretty good too. My youngest wants a bowl of it while it's hot, but I told her maybe later if there's extra left that doesn't fit in the jar. Okay, next, my lids are over here and they are hot, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that down real low. My jars have already sterilized, so they are ready to go, and we're about to get started. Over here, this is the apple juice that I got off. I've not filtered it yet, so when I get the canning process done, I will put this through an unbleached coffee filter and filter it, or we might drink it like this. It's perfectly fine, just kind of cloudy when you leave it like this, but I did take a little drink of it and it was good. All right, so here's my little setup. Let me find them. Okay, I've got my tongs here that I will use to get the canning jars out. Here's my process. I always get a towel and I use the clean towel to put the jars on. So I'll get one jar out of the hot water one at a time. I'll take these tongs to get it out, and I have water in the jars currently. I don't think you can see that, but I have water in the jars currently, extra water, help heat them and all that. That's just what I do, kind of weigh them down so they don't fall over. But I'll take the tongs, dip them in there, and then dump the water out. I will put it here, and then I take a clean towel and I wipe around the rim really, really good to get that 100% dry. I take this funnel, stick it on top of the jar, and then I will fill the jar a quarter from the top full of the applesauce. Then I will take my knife and kind of, smooth it down and try to get out any air bubbles. Then I will take my tongs again, and I will get a lid out of there, and I will take my rag and wipe the lid off, 100% dry, put it on top, and then I will take the rings, the bands, and band it down and put it back in the canner. And when I do all of that and they're all in the canner, then I will let it boil for about 20 minutes. And the applesauce will be canned and will be done. So I'm going to put you guys on this little tablet stand here so you can maybe see my process. Oh, I also have these things to get the jars out of the water once they have canned and sealed and all that. And here's a little tip. Since the water has to cover the tops of the jars, I should have enough water in there that wouldn't be a problem. But if for some reason it wasn't enough water, here's a little tip. If you don't have time to boil more water, just take your coffee maker, your bun, because it always has hot water, and just, get a pot from it, and it's very hot. Okay, so guess I'll turn you around now. And we have hard water here, so you will see like the white calcium lime stuff. And also, my hands are clean, just washed them. The jars are hot. got a little bit too much. Very hot. Alright. Just put the lid on there. Hold it down with a finger, just like thumbs tight. Alright, and this one is ready to go back in the canner. I have not canned in a couple of years. Actually, I guess maybe it's been 3 years. Yeah, actually, it's been 3 years. For one reason or another, we just have not been able to. This year, we knew we were moving, so there was no point in growing a garden. The year before that, we thought we were moving, so we thought there was no point in growing a garden. And the year before that, I just did not want to. I had way too much going on that summer, so anyhow, I'm a little slow, but you always get better with practice. All right. It is cold outside, but it is hot in this kitchen. I'm telling you, it is hot. And whenever you can with a water bath canner, you do not have to use these canning jars that actually say like ball or cur. You don't have to use those. You do have to use those whenever you can in a pressure canner, but not in a water bath canner like I'm doing. The pressure canner, you have to use those because there's so much pressure that, there's so much pressure that the glass needs to be, stronger. And these, marked canning jars, they are stronger. The glass is thicker. And I forgot to do this a while ago on that last one. Just trying to get the air bubbles out, if there are any. It's so thick and packed that that shouldn't be a problem, but it's just a precaution I like to take. But I actually got rid of all of my canning jars that were not marked as a canning jar because I had so many canning jars. Just totes and totes and totes of canning jars. I had way too many. So I decided to get rid of all my jars that were not labeled as ball or cur. And so that's why I'm using these. Alright. Whenever you pick out your canning jars to do, no matter if they're brand new or reused, you should always check the rim of them. Make sure that they are not cracked, not even a little bit. Just throw them away. It's better safe than sorry. You don't want any cracks or hairline fractures or anything like that. So always check them for cracks or chips and throw them away if they are not good. Alright, I might have enough for one more pint. We will just have to see. It'll be close if I do. My youngest may get her wish of hot applesauce because I don't think I've got enough. Nope, that's not quite full enough, so I will not be canning this one. Okay, so this is done and empty, and like I said, there wasn't enough to finish filling this up. It needs to be like a 1/4 inch from the top. And let me get a pot holder here, if I can get it. Okay, and here they are. I was able to get 5 pints of applesauce in there. And once that starts boiling, it's going to boil for about 20 minutes. Then it'll be done. Then I will just take them out one by one using this and put them here on this clean towel. Whenever you go to take jars that you've canned, like water bath canned or pressure canned, especially pressure canned, you when you take them out, you don't need to put them like where an air conditioner vent would be or an open window or anything where there could be a sudden change in temperature because they could snap, crack. And also another thing that my grandma always taught me was to put like a towel over them to help, prevent that. I've never had that happen, but, better safe than sorry. Okay, I guess it's pretty much the end of the applesauce. Whenever they are done, I will, show you what they look like all done. Going to go ahead, and this is the apple juice. I still have not filtered it. I'll have the kids come up here and take a taste and see if they like it like that or if they want me to filter it. If they want me to filter it, I will show you what that looks like once it's filtered. But you can see kind of there on the top some of the apple pulp, sauce stuff. So that is that. I have supper in the crock pot, and my girls are going to come up here and they're going to clean up and do the dishes while I finish supper and get some more stuff going. Alright. Okay, so I told you that if my children thought it should be filtered, I would go ahead and filter it. So I have filtered all of it, and every time I pass the liquid through, and this is one of those large ball tea things for like loose leaf tea. Anyhow, but every time I pass some liquid through, the applesauce that was at the bottom and in with the apple juice you know, it keeps stopping it up. So I've had to empty this little tea ball out 5 times already, but this is the last of it. Okay, and I've been tasting it along the way, and actually I've been eating it, and it's really good applesauce. Isn't that pretty? It's just so pretty. But anyhow, so this is a quart jar, and you can see about how full it is. It's about 3/4 or so full. So that is what we got out of, I don't know how many, I had 20 pounds of apples, but you saw that we did not use all of them. We still have quite a few left. And I really don't know how many we used. I did not keep track of it. But it made what we did use made 5 pints of applesauce, this much apple juice, and then all the skins, the apple skins and cores, tomorrow we will use and make apple jelly out of. My pot that I cook the apples down in, I think it's a 5-quart pot. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure, just not 100%. Well, I think that is it for today's video. Once the applesauce gets done canning, then I will show that to you. And I think that'll be it. So, okay, I just took these out of the canner just now, so they're very hot. So I just have them setting here on this towel. And then, you know, within the next 30 minutes or so, I will hear pop, 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 to where, you know, all these lids, they'll seal and suck down, and you'll hear pop, pop, pop. So that's always an enjoyable sound to hear. But I guess that does it for this video. If for some reason, just so you know, if for some reason some of them do not seal, then they are not bad. You know, I mean, you don't have to throw it out. Just take it and put it in the refrigerator and make that the first one that you eat. So, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.